doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Yo, what is up, nerds? Hopefully the mic is mic check. Okay, the mic is working. How are we doing? Hopefully everyone had a wonderful day today. Just looking at a couple articles here, getting ready for the stream. What the hell is that? Automatically picture in picture is on, has access to the site. Why? That's weird. Is that happen to every website? Okay. Uninstall this application right now. Oh, unless it said it was a Google application, so maybe I could reinstall it, but that was a little freaky. All right, let's talk about the market today. Market today was a lot of fun to trade. QQQ. I can't remember for the most part where the market ended. I think ended red. Yes, it did. QQQ ended red. S&P 500 ended red also, or flat on the day, but did flush later on. Yes, I remembered the flush. I don't really remember the pop up to the north side I guess the market had over there. What happened with the QQQ? QQQ was had that flush. I remember this flush, but then I wasn't really too keen on what the market did later on. Kind of stopped trading for the rest of the day after making my daily goal or whatever. So getting a quick refresher. So it looks like we did reclaim some of that epic loss in the middle of the day the markets presented us with. But overall, you could say a nothing burger day in the grand scheme of where the market is actually at, right? QQQ still very close to all-time highs. S&P 500 still very close to all-time highs. And if you take a look at some of the names over here, such as Meta, there's articles floating around saying Meta's historic 17-day winning streak. That's been 17 days in a row that Meta has gone up and actually ended green on the day, to the point where now it's up year to date. That's January 2025 to date. 23% up north. So beautiful run on Meta. bull run, ladies and gentlemen. The great bull market is back in play. We were thinking about recession a little bit, but no. However, tomorrow is actually a very important day on the market. Tomorrow is CPI day with 8:30 a.m. We got CPI numbers coming out, and obviously that being either a surprise, if it comes out a surprise in a good way or in a bad way, expecting the market to make a little bit of a move. It's been a while since CPI has actually made a big impact on the market. The last CPI was a decent impact on the market, if I remember accurately, but it's been a little bit before that where the CPI actually gave you a monster move to trade off of. So we'll be watching carefully to see if inflation is getting hotter again, or is it actually cooling off, and that will be dictated by this 8:30 number. Then again at 10 o'clock, same time as today, tomorrow we have Fed Powell again testifying, so there'll be comments, I'm guessing, or maybe Fed Powell actually on at a conference and will be answering questions again like he was answering questions today. So that will be important tomorrow at 10 o'clock also, and then Bostic at 12 o'clock. So a little bit of an important day tomorrow on the econ calendar. You even have a 10-year bond auction at 1 o'clock. So, you know, very active economic calendar starting with 8:30 all the way into 1 o'clock. But you know, there's chances that some of these numbers don't even give you anything to really trade off of. And if that's the case, thankfully we have the earnings season on board. The earnings season giving you tons of opportunities to trade off of. SMCI, UPST reporting today after hours. We got VRT, which is an AI name. It's in the AI basket. So obviously taking a look at how they report tomorrow. Pre-market, CVS Health, if I remember correctly, should be to the downside and near the 52-week lows, with the rest of the healthcare companies, Kraft Heinz. So a bunch of companies here that reported today already, have reported last week, are on the watch list, and stocks that are kind of moving around on news catalyst. Thankfully, we have Centerpoint hooking us up with that news report, such as Intel moving apparently to the upside today based on what the President Trump administration has been saying regarding semiconductors and AI and chip technologies, and how they're going to be producing these things in the USA. So all things are going to be benefiting basically Intel foundries, which I think is going to be opening in Texas. I don't know if it's open yet or not, but the Texas Intel foundries potentially will benefit from that, right? So watching all of these names based on their earnings reports. Or yeah, look at that, BYD reporting that they have a self-driving car for $10,000, so pretty damn cheap. However, they'll never set foot in Canada, but you know, it's or USA, I should say, because of tariffs and so on. But maybe because I'm Canadian, and if Canada doesn't end up being part of America, maybe I'll see them in Canada. So waiting to see how that one sets up over there. But Tesla's got a lot of competition. BYD is also taking over countries like India and Europe with their cars and so on. So Tesla's got big competition in the EV space. Alright, before we talk about the stocks that are actually on the watch list for tomorrow, why don't I show you guys how I traded on the day. So my best trade on the day today comes from TEM. Shout out to the SMB Capital Fashionably Late Scalp. Got me entries right here on the breakdown below 73.50 if I remember correctly, or breakdown below 74.50 or even 74, I can't remember. However, a nice little breakdown. You can see how on the 1 minute chart the stock was trying to bounce off of VWAP. Every single bounce off of VWAP got matched with a nice selling candle right after that. If you actually look at the stock also on the daily chart, we are right at all-time high. $79 area is the all-time high. The stock makes a 1 ATR run from $67 into 79. Well, I guess I should have said 67. From $68 to $78, $79 in one straight run to the north side off the open, and then just kind of capitulates / exhausts itself. Doesn't have any follow through behind that to break all-time high. So I'm waiting to see if it can give me actually a bounce long off of VWAP. Instead, what it sets up for is a beautiful short setup back through to the downside, back under VWAP. So got a nice short under VWAP on every single bounce. It just wasn't able to get back above the area that I was keeping an eye on, and just because of that, I was able to add to my size, scalp some for profit, add back, and then take some profits on the way down, getting my full 3 risk to reward on this position. However, after covering that, I didn't really need to cover this, and then I covered this a little bit too early. So technically I only got, like, I want to say 2R, not 3R. I could have gotten 3.5 or even 4R on this trade because of how much lower than it went from my target. So could have made a lot more money than I did on this trade. Just a couple points to note in my own journal later on in the day after stream, but beautifully executed. Was very patient for this trade, and when it showed up, I really focused on it and looked for reasons to add, looked for reasons to cover. However, these reasons, you could say, were not really reasons to cover. I was bored trying to manage other positions, and I was just like, you know what, time to take some profits. Yeah, let's take some profits. And guess what? I don't have any more shares. Later on, stock gives you a good hold right into yesterday's VWAP and consolidates right at yesterday's VWAP, where I could have used to take profits or even potentially flip long for a move back into today's VWAP. Stock actually ends green on the day. So nice little short on TEM, the Pelosi stock. Shopify making a little bit of a failed break of lower day. You can see how it bear flags into lower day after the whole pre-market back and forth, drops to the pre-market low areas, bear flags into the lower day, rejects VWAP, breaks lower day, but then has a failed break a lower day. Now it reclaims VWAP and actually has buyers showing up where previous resistance was. So I'm thinking, okay, potential VWAP continuation on this trade over here. So let me look for a long. Boom, I'm able to catch the long on the dip, and then I'll have easy move to the upside later on in the day. If you actually look at how the stock goes much higher, I'm very upset for not looking long on the dip and holds in this area later on. So we'll be writing that up in my notes. Shopify giving me some extra pocket change to add on the day. OKLO has a lot of back and forth, breaks the lower day, pops back, but you can see how the lower day is exactly now rejecting, not able to really get back above the previous lower day or previous intraday lower day, which was right around this 51.50 area. And noticing that, I'm like, oh, you know what? I recognize this as the SMB second scalp chance, right? It breaks the lower day cleanly, pops back, and then forms a range for where I could take a breakout off of, or I should say a breakdown off of. I take that breakdown and I listen to the SMB scalp setup, which says take some profits into the original pop low. I take some profits into the pop low, and then I'm scalping some, and then I trail some on the 9 EMA over here. So I'm out of the trade. Later on, I get back into the trade, but I kind of just exit for a flat trade. I make a little bit money here. I exit for a flat trade. I get bored of it. I don't really hold it. Sadly, the stock does go into $50 and a little bit below $50 if I remember correctly. So I miss out on making some more money on that one. AIF. This one's actually a great example of not giving up on the stock and keeping an eye on it, because the second chance on this one played out very well. I chased the entry. The entry was supposed to be 480. I took the $5 breakout instead. Noticing what I did, I said, you know what? Fuck this trade. I'm not going to manage it. I'm just going to get out wherever the stock opens. It opened at like 530, 520 or something off the halt. So I got out on the open for a quick profit, whatever it was. On the dip, it started holding the $5 area, so I got in again around the $5 area, but then that broke the 480 area, and the stock immediately down halted. Off the down halt, it opened back up and actually held the halt lows, held the $5 area, gave you ample enough time to look for a long again as the second chance. And you can see how the previous intraday high ended up being the next support area. Previous resistance turning into support, gave you the perfect second chance scalp long entry, and then the stock really ripped from there. You could have had $5 and been taking some opportunities to exit around $11, maybe even $10 based on wherever the 9 EMA is. So monster run to the north side over here on AIFF. Missed out by not taking the second chance scalp, by not even looking at the stock after giving up on it. I gave it 2 tries. I made money the first try, I lost on the second try, I gave up on it, and that was the biggest mistake I could have done. Intel, tried a long around VWAP. Intel had a pretty strong day. JD Vance and company, or should I say Trump and company, said that they were going to be boosting the whole AI process and semiconductor chip processes in USA, the making of them, that is. So Intel making a little bit of a boost up based on how monster of a move Intel had on the day. I was thinking VWAP could actually hold and give you a good move back into higher day if the market was bullish. Intel did set up for some sort of a move up there, but did not have too much juice, and I just cut the trade for flat. I said, you know what, instead of waiting for it to go to my break-even point, why don't I see what's not playing out for me? The stock tried to get above 2130 and just not able to get above 2130. Technically, on this move right here where my cursor is, it should have started to make a move up north and not really make a lower low. So if you're making a lower low, I'm out of this trade. I'm done. I take my flat exit. I think I'll make like a couple pennies, but not really even worth talking about. So Intel, I closed my trade, and looks like I might have actually been making the right decision doing that, because if I remember correctly, it traded a little bit lower. Baba and Apple reporting partnership. However, I questioned this partnership. Apple products using a Chinese AI. Alright, we'll see how that one plays out. However, I'm not an analyst, I'm a trader. And what I saw was a beautiful pattern over here for a breakout on Baba long. Baba, had its fluctuation off the open, pre-market, off the open, dropped, and then tried to go back higher, successfully went back higher. Consolidated in front of the pre-market high area. So I took the pre-market high, intraday high breakout. Was able to get a quick little scalp off into $1 per share, but immediately stock plummeted to the downside, and I just got stopped out. And I said, you know what, I'm not gonna complain, I just don't care about trading this stock anymore. I walked away from it. Kind of had a similar trade as Baba, but a little bit earlier on SMCI, high a day breakout, quickly took that for profit, but then added on the pullback, anticipated a VWAP hold, but based on how bullish the stock already was for the last few days, I guess even taking the breakout was a little stupid. Probably should not have looked for the breakout to begin with, but hey, I kept it small, took a little profit on the pullback. I added, overall lost on this name, and it's red for me. This one was really kind of a questionable trade, I guess. No real setup. I was kind of just anticipating the $100 area would hold. No patterns to play off of, no setup. It had the original move from red to green off the earnings report, which is what I said I was expecting the stock to do yesterday, have a red to green move. It had that. On the pullback, it had that beautiful $100 psychological level. also had VWAP right around that area, so I bid into 100 to see if I could get lucky with the fill. I got lucky with the fill, and I thought I was gonna make money. Technically I was, but each pop just got stuffed, and you can see that after a bunch later, a little bit time later, the stock does pop back up, but even that gets stuffed. So some seller in this area just completely bullying the position. No matter how good the earnings report was, they just did not like it, and they're bullying it, using the earnings report pops and earnings report buyers as their exit liquidity and dumping the position. So absolute dumpage on A-Lab, and thankfully I didn't take as big of a hit as I would have had I kept fighting the long. So gave it a couple shots. I said, you know what, this is not worth it, let's move on from it. Tesla, this is regretting 340 short. Didn't give enough room for it to play out. I only gave it 50-cent room for it to play out the first time. You know, whatever, scalped it. The second time I got stopped out and I didn't look at it again. That was a complete miss because that was a big move to the south side, sorry, on Tesla. Boy oh boy, $10 per share could have been had on this name. Later on, that was a keystroke. I was trying to throw a buy order at $333.11. Instead, I threw an order at $335.11, but the stock was trading at $334.40. So what happened? I got filled at $334.40, and I just immediately threw an exit order at $334.40, and thankfully I got my order filled and I got to exit absolutely a break even on that trade. But later on, stock does give me the 333 fill, and then I get stopped out at 332, break to the downside, and then much later there was some size in front of 330, so I'm trying to long on the front side, but I never tried on the back side. You know, the backside long actually works, sadly, but I am not there to participate in it. Those were my trades on the day. Total 1.1 R. February is looking real good so far. We are very happy with the February performance. Maybe not, I shouldn't say performance, because we did get lucky 3 days in a row. Should I say last week? Yes, last week I did get lucky 3 days in a row, where you know, a lot of money was made. But today I actually wasn't as big of a dumbass as I usually am. So I'm very happy with my performance on TEM and on SHOP and on OKLO. However, you know, as Kobe Bryant would say, what's there to be happy about? Job's not done. Right? Job's not done. What's there to be happy about? Let's get back to work, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, next up, we're going to talk about stocks that are going to matter for tomorrow. Starting with stocks such as SMCI, which is supposed to report today, but what do they do? Let me clear my throat. Which was supposed to report today, but what did they do? Not report. They did a preliminary report. What in the world, SMCI? Are you going to report, or are you not going to report your quarterly reports? Like, is this a game for you guys? You know, people are invested in you and have like decisions to make based on what kind of games are you playing here? Right? So SMCI playing absolute games. They didn't really report. They came out with the preliminary second quarter report. So once again, they're you know, delaying it. If you read the report on the headline, it says company expects to file delayed. Expects? What do you mean expects? I want to see a definitive date, a definitive headline being like, yeah, okay, this is our preliminary report, but we're going to give you the full report on this date. What do you mean by expects? Like, that is so crazy. If I had billions of dollars invested in SMCI and this is the kind of bullshit that they're giving me, I'm scared to hold on to my position. And you can see how the stock actually played out on the earnings report, right? It got sold off first, or should I say on the lack of an earnings report. It got sold off first, and then later on it got bought right back up. So very volatile, very back and forth. Just got to be very careful what you want to do with this. Potentially a great day trading instrument, but a horrible swing trading and an investing instrument currently, and still in that basket of question mark, is it a scam, right? So let's read the report, or should I say again, preliminary report. Supermicro expects to be I'm gonna get so pissed off. Expects to be 5.6 to 5.7. Second quarter to be 58 to 60. Company expects the quarter to be 1.4 plus 1.9 in total debt. We with our leading, okay, and 30% of our new data centers expected to adopt in its next 12 months. Okay, combined exceptional product quality, service okay. Supermicro expects third quarter revenue to be in the range of 5 billion to 6 billion. That's dropping. 46 cents to 60 cents. That's also dropping. Supermicro also cut full year guidance. San Jose, California based company now expects full year revenue to be in the range of 23.5 to 25 billion from prior guidance of 26 to 30 billion. So they're cutting their prior guidance. What else is expected? Announced it's entered into privately negotiated agreements with its holders of its existing 0% convertible senior notes due to 2029 to purchase 700 million of its newly issued 2.25% convertible senior notes due 2028. Okay, the company is cooperating with these document requests. In addition, the connection with the delay in filing the periodic report, several securities litigation compliance and derivative suits were filed against the company. Management believes these complaints are without merit. Supermicro independent auditor Ernst & Young resigned in October. Yes, we remember that, or at least I remember that. An independent special committee found no evidence of fraud. I call it bullshit at this point. Company announced Tuesday that it continues to work diligently towards the filing of its delayed reports. Supermicro expects to file the delayed reports as well as the Tuesday report before the deadline. Chat, when's the deadline? Someone do the research for me. When is the damn deadline? Okay, so this is not correct. February 25th. All right. So that's the date that we're gonna have to mark in our calendar, ladies and gentlemen. February 25th. I'm gonna put that in my notes right now. This is the date that it's going to either potentially make the stock great again, or absolutely make it crumble. The fact that they didn't report today and they need a couple more days to report to February 25th, like what have you not cooked already in the books that you're going to need a couple more days to cook? I just don't get it. You know what? Like I just don't understand. This company is just playing so many games. At the end of the day, man, I'm not an analyst. I'm a day trader. If people are buying this name up tomorrow, even after all the games that they're playing, look, I don't know why you would, right? They Also guided lower. Their revenue for the full year is now a little bit lower than previously expected. So I just don't see reasons for the stock to go higher before they actually give out their proper report on February 25th. You might see a little bit of fluctuation back and forth in these ranges, but every pop at the moment is just a no-brainer short for me. So I'm going to be looking for failure to follow through above 43, above 44. If the stock is at 50 bucks, I'll be, gladly looking to be shorting the $50 area once it gets there. So watching how every pop reacts. At the moment, I am just very confused as to why this stock is even up on the after hours. I call craziness. Okay, next stock on my earnings watch list, or should I say the whole daily watch list for tomorrow, is Upstart. Nobody knows what the company does at the end of the day, but they had a monster move to the upside, 25% move. Upstart reported 26 cents per share, beating estimates of a loss of 4 cents per share. That's pretty good. Revenue clocked in 218.96, beating estimates of 182.18. Beating at same period last year of 140.31. That's a monster beat from same period last year. 245,000 loans were originated, totaling 2.1 billion, up 68% year over year and 33% from prior quarter. Conversions rate 19.3, up 11.6 from the fourth quarter 2023. In Q4 2024, our business grew dramatically across all products categories delivered. Okay, we launched 2025 unparalleled energy and optimism for the future of Upstart AI leading and AI. Whatever. Upstart expects, what do? You take a lending or a pitch. Let's say it's like a Shark Tank. You take a pitch from somebody, you put it through ChatGPT, and you ask ChatGPT, is this worth investing in? Is that what your program does? What do you mean by AI lending, right? And this is how they've been getting away with this bullshit for so long. I just don't understand. But we'll see. Upstart expects first quarter revenue approximately 200 million versus 193 million, so beating estimates over there. Upstart whole shares up 20% overall, and then I think after hours actually we ended up 25%. So a nice little pump to the upside. A 52-week high area coming into play. We are just shy of this little 52-week high zone that I have marked off. If you go to the daily chart, it's basically this day's high, the previous earnings day 2 high, and then this whole consolidation day high itself, which was on the 13th of December 2024. So 86 to about $89. I have this zone marked off. I'll be watching to see how the stock reacts. We'll love to see if the dips get bought up on this name. They were actually expected to lose 4 cents per share, but they are reporting 25 cents per share positive. That's a good thing if you ask me. Forward PE of 50 on Upstart, so a little bit expensive on the valuation side, but not really, right? We've seen crazier numbers. So in the growth company, they are growing, and they are also beating their guidance. So we'll be very much watching for one of the very textbook setups that I like to trade on growth companies, which is the money trade. But because of how big of a zone this purple box zone is, I think expecting to take a breakout long in this area would be a little dumb, unless the stock is already above this area. Then looking for a breakout long above this area, no matter how up stock is, I'm going to give it a try because it's just a part of the setup that I have to try. However, I don't envision a move where this is even a reality. I just can't see that that's going to play out. I just can't, you know, I just don't see it. It's already up too much on the day. What I do see is something like this. The stock is over here in this area, rejecting this area, and then potentially giving you a short back through VWAP, a move into the earnings anchored VWAP, which is around $80 or so, which would still be positive, right? The stock would not be negative on the day if it did that. It just wouldn't be up 25% on the day. Potentially we'll end up around 20% on the day or so, but you know, good pop over here. Pre-market and intraday tomorrow, we'll see if the stock can actually manage to get above this little purple zone that I have mapped out. DoorDash, I'll be honest, I haven't used DoorDash in a long time. Or you know, traded DoorDash also. So let's actually go take a look at the all-time chart. 257 all-time, 52-week high area. We are exactly around it. If you take a look at how the stock reacted to its report, first a little bit of a move to the downside, and then an immediate course correction to a new 52-week high into the $200 ranges. So might have to go take a look at the report. Why did the stock do what it did? DoorDash reported 19% increase year over year. 21% year over year on marketplace GOV. What is that? Monthly active users reached 42 million, up from over 37 million. Okay. DoorDash, DoorPass, and Volt Plus. What are these new things, man? Members were 22 million existing, up from 18 million. Okay, we improved units. Okay, all things looking good so far. DoorDash had expected to increase again from Q1 to Q2 and from Q2 to Q3. Up shares 7% at the time of the report to $207. So it looks like that was pretty much around the high, and we closed around 204, 205. Earnings VWAP right around 200. So pretty easy level for us to keep an eye out for. Under over on DoorDash 200. If it starts to find buying above that beautiful number, I think today's high was what, 194. Then what was 200? Last week's high? Yesterday's high was 198. Last week's high 199. Earnings VWAP 200. So on any pullback into 200 or any buying above 200 on pullbacks, I am looking for a long on DoorDash. So watching how this name sets up so far, growth, but how they did miss, I guess, on the EPS very slightly. They also beat revenue very slightly. So growth is all that matters to me, and looks like the market cared about that also. LYFT, how did you do? Did you go up or okay, LYFT straight back to the downside to the last month's low. January lows coming back into play, $12.50. What's that, right around this area? So that actually is pretty interesting if you ask me. If we get below it and stay below it, I think that opens up some good room to the downside on LYFT. Do I even need to read the earnings report? I guess I'll quickly scan through the earnings report, see if there's anything interesting. Up 27% year over year. Okay, 15% year over year on gross bookings. Up 10% year over year on active total riders. Total riders came in above 219 million, up 15% year over year. Authorized a share repurchase program of $500 million in the company's common stock. Okay, but we got more to do. Expects gross booking to be 4.05 to 4.2, representing growth of 10 to 14% year over year. Company sees first quarter ride growth to be between mid-teens to a year over year ranges. All things looking good. So why did the stock get smoked? So now I'm almost wondering, is there a good long to look for off this 1250 bottom area? So look for this 1250 to potentially hold, and if it does, you might get a good long off of it. If it doesn't hold, it's a pretty easy, once again, under over, same like Dash, so under over on lift. If you're finding weakness under 1250, there's just no more longs at that point, because look at the amount of room that the stock is opening up to the downside. So pretty excited about that. GILD, new 52-week high above the $100 area and going into the last week's high ranges. So a good move on an earnings report. GILD, I kind of don't even know what they do, but I just quickly took a glance at how the stock moved up the report, and it was obviously amazing. So quarterly EPS 1.9 versus 1.7, 10% increase from same period last year. Revenue 7.5 billion to estimates of 7.13. This is a 6%. Wait, what the hell? This is a 6% increase from same period last year. So growth overall, and they are expecting full year to be $7 to $8. I mean, they make money. They make $7 to $8 a year on EPS, so they make money over here clearly. So a good move to the upside is a very good indication to look for the long side, right? If the stock is showing you buying above previous, I don't want to say all-time high, because I don't think this is all-time high. It is. Wow, okay. So clearly above all-time high, this $100.50. If we're finding buying above 150, that's going to be the inflection level. It's almost a no-brainer long on GILD at that point. So pre-market, let's see what type of spicy levels the stock gives to us to play with. CFLT. Did you even move in the after hours? Okay, you gave me a little bit of a pop in the after hours, but very stuck in a range. Might not even care about this tomorrow at all. Oh, actually, you got above that 34-second line that I just put in. In that case, I might be a little interested. I just got less interested again. I'll put 34 as an inflection, but I won't give it a color for my watch list at all. I won't give it a color. I don't think I care about that name. Let's quickly go back to that name, see what the volume is like on this name on the 30 days. 30-day 4 million shares for a $34 stock. Yeah, I don't know if I care about that. All right, Zillow Group. Ooh, big move to the downside on Zillow. 30-day lower volume than the other one, but usually gives you a good day trade to play with. So low volume, sadly. I need more volume on Zillow in the pre-market for me to play with. So for now, I'm just going to move past it. Let's go to VRT. VRT chart looks exactly like... What stock was it that I was trading today? A-Lab. Right? Exactly like A-Lab. VRT and A-Lab have a very similar pattern over here. Potentially making a move tomorrow to the downside on the pre-market reaction. We'll see how when the stock reports. Obviously a stock to keep an eye on, along with CVS, another stock that's reporting in the pre-market. GOLD, Barrick Gold. That's not the one. Barrick Gold Corporation. Gold's at all-time highs, so you would expect Barrick Gold to have a positive earnings report. So keeping an eye on this one. Another one reporting tomorrow, pre-market, Kraft Heinz Group. If you're a McDonald's ketchup guy, or I guess anywhere if you go ketchup these days, Kraft Heinz is the one to go to, right? They have Kraft Heinz everywhere these days. So if you are a Kraft Heinz guy, for sure you're keeping an eye on that. That's a nice level on the daily chart. I mean, if it gets below that, I might be a little interested for some action on KHC. Okay, now let's go to some names that reported recently, last week or this week so far. It's only been 2 days of this week, but reported overall. Let's start with Shopify. Nice move to the upside today on Shopify. A little bit of a I'm just trying to clean my keyboard here. A little bit of a breakout, I guess you could say, but you know, sold off first, then reclaimed VWAP. So it's got a lot of back and forth action that it had to go through before it really even had that breakout into the end of the day. So I wouldn't really call this like a day one move today. I wouldn't call today a day one move. It's nothing wrong with keeping an eye on this name. I'm just not sure if using today's VWAP as a signal to look for dip buys into today's VWAP and then look for a move into today's high is just not something that might be the play. However, volume today was was today the earnings move? Oh, I'm thinking about Spotify. Today was Shopify's earnings report. Okay, so today was day one move. What am I saying? I'm thinking about Spotify, which was not the day one move. Spotify reported earnings a little bit earlier. So Shopify, you know, maybe looking at today's VWAP is for sure going to be valuable in my opinion, which was also actually yesterday's VWAP. Surprisingly enough, today's VWAP matching around with yesterday's VWAP. So 2 days average price is going to be around $120. So if the stock shows you dips into 120 and buying into 120, I think looking for a long will be one of my key priorities for tomorrow. So marking this one, marking that 120 area as an inflection zone. Today's high 126, I'll put that as a resistance for now and then see how pre-market sets up. Coca-Cola, I didn't really trade Coca-Cola today. Not sure I'll be trading Coca-Cola tomorrow. Ooh, Coca-Cola did give you a nice flip back through long though. A good long somewhere right here. Could have gone right here. I'm not trading Coca-Cola tomorrow, am I? Probably not. I'll be honest with you. McDonald's, day 2 off earnings move, making a little bit of a move up, but not sure I'm going to be really trading McDonald's tomorrow. ON Semiconductors. There's way better names tomorrow to keep an eye on. Let's move on from all these garbage names. Let's go to Tesla. Tesla, day 1 move today technically. Big downside move, you know, I guess you could say day 3 move after really breaking below that 373 area that we were talking about, and now at 320. So nice move to the downside on Tesla. I'm not sure where the 200-day moving average is. Let me quickly turn on my moving averages right there. 200 is at 307. Then you got, I'm pretty sure that's a 200, right? Oh no, it's 130. Okay, so 200 is at 269 and 250 is at over here. What's 130? Why do I have 130? Why do I have 130? That's such a weird number. Okay. But 200 is at 269.67, and that just means it could have a little bit of a bigger drop over here on Tesla. So just keep an eye out for this one. This has got the BYD news. This has got OpenAI proposal from Elon Musk news. If Elon Musk wants to buy OpenAI, he needs the money from somewhere. Most of his liquid money, his liquid net worth is in Tesla. So if he sells Tesla shares to buy OpenAI the same way he did Twitter, Tesla could go a little bit lower. So lots of you know, fear and scare going on through Tesla at the moment, so you just want to be careful trying to catch a falling knife. Let it actually bottom out and then look long if you're looking for an investment or a swing trade. As for a day trade, just enjoy the ride. Just look for the pops, short the pops, and then enjoy the ride to the south side is all I can say. Today's VWAP, today's high, the daily levels, the hourly levels. So just gonna throw up some levels on your charts and just follow those levels, see if selling comes, and then you just trade the chart. FLNC, what is this? $7 stock down 40%. Whew. Energy name FLNC down big time off the earnings report. Wow. That's the all-time low. And eesh. Not sure I'll be trading this tomorrow, but potentially worth keeping an eye on for any possible setups. RGTI, a lot of the quantum names actually had a good breakdown. If you look at RGTI on the daily chart, potentially could remove some of the levels that I have marked up for now. Move it right there. So that $12 breakdown, that $11.80 $12 actually took the stock under to the south side, going to SSR territories. IonQ, other stocks overall are also breaking down. So IonQ, if it gets below 35, that's something to keep an eye out for. QUBT, QBTS, LEAS, ARQQ. So all the quantum names are on the watch list tomorrow for potential breakdown or even a dip buy if RGTI wants to get back into the north side, which I don't think it will, but if it does, we'll see how it plays out. Tesla, I think, will give you a good dip buy tomorrow if it goes into $300. Imagining a setup where Tesla breaks down into 300 in the pre-market / off the open, and then just capitulates and bottoms out into 300. I'm expecting a monster long on Tesla where you get to risk maybe, you know, $2 per share and you get like $15 $20 per share long on that move if it goes into 300. But if it pops instead and rejects around today's VWAP, I'm looking for that short move instead on Tesla also. So multiple ideas to keep an eye on Tesla. Compared to RGTI, I'm mainly bearish on these quantum names, mainly bearish on the quantum names overall. BBAI looks like you could say the mean reversion play is coming into fruition at the moment, but I'm not sure it is just yet. You know, for me, the failure to follow through would be right under $6, but you know, you could say the stock is now, you know, changing characteristics. It's putting in lower lows, lower highs on the daily chart, and successfully getting ready to get crumbled upon to the downside. So BBAI, potential mean reversion watch, but I think, you know, this just was a 2-day pullback. It could easily have a monster move up. You don't want to get trapped in this one. Apple and BABA. I don't know if I said this already, but I think I gave you a gist of it. I don't think the government, the Trump administration, is going to let a Chinese AI be used on an American phone, even though it's made in China. I just don't think in the near future they're just gonna let that slide by. It's gotta be an American AI on an American phone, especially if it's being used by government officials, because they recently banned DeepSeek, right? They recently banned DeepSeek across the board. So I'm just not sure how that will play out. However, good news, companies did pop up. BABA and Apple popped up a little bit off that catalyst. Just using 5-minute patterns, using the SMB scalp patterns to trade off of. I don't really have a clear level to give you to play off of on these moves. They're just kind of stuck in ranges for Apple, for example, or BABA is just going a little parabolic, a little crazy. I was expecting JD to set up for a nice breakout above 42.50, but not yet, I guess. Whenever that breakout happens, I want to be ready for it. So potentially setting up a alert right into that little pocket of area, so I'm alerted when that stock goes there. Intel had a decent day today, right? Monster day on Intel today off of that catalyst. You could use today as day one, and if Intel continues to find buying off of today's VWAP, which it didn't even do so today itself, I guess it did find buying off of today's VWAP. But if Intel continues to you know, hold above $20, find buying off of today's VWAP, I think there could be a little bit of an up move in the near future. For now, I'm just not as interested to really trade Intel. Spotify looks like a failed break of that little high over there, so potentially having a little bit of a pullback and consolidation, or this could be, you know, the second pullback. Usually not the first pullback, but not the first breakout, but the second breakout is the one that goes. However, Spotify is a $600 name. As the volume continues to diminish on this name, so does the juiciness behind breakouts. So you got to look for dip buys and so on. So the stock really needs to start trading above the all-time high for me to care about, you know, looking for a dip buy long. We got to see it above 630, above 640, finding buying above 630, finding buying above 640, and then I'll be interested to look for a potential long. Roblox had its earnings move, then it's had its short report move, then it's had the SEC move, so a little bit of a confused on what the stock could really do, but for sure on the radar. We'll be watching this name tomorrow. Uber, didn't I say mean reversion setting up on this name? So today was a good mean reversion day 1 technically. Tomorrow potentially giving us a mean reversion day 2. Rejected perfectly off of yesterday's high, then got back under VWAP. Broke today's low, which was also pre-market low, went back into yesterday's low after breaking that. So monster, you know, you got multiple trade opportunities on for Uber. All you had to do was look for that trade, and I mentioned that trade to you. I said this was too far up too quick. I'm looking for a little bit of a mean reversion, and you did get that nice short today. However, stock is looking like it's holding that day's high, yesterday's low, and that is now almost a 3-day zone. So either we break below this 3-day zone or we continue to hold above this 3-day zone. So watch how Uber plays out around the 76.50. Is it 76? What's today's low? 76.60, 76.80, 76.78. So basically 76.50. You're watching how 76.50 on Uber plays out. That's your inflection area. Either you're holding above 76.50 or you're holding below 76.50, at which point you got a day 2 short opportunity on UBER. I know Barkey asked me for technical analysis on UPST, which I think I gave already, on Uber, which I just did, and on A-Lab, which I believe is on my watch list. Is it not on my watch list? Oh no, I ignored A-Lab on my watch list because I don't think it's a trade for tomorrow for me at all. Based on this earnings report, I was pretty bullish on it, but you know, clearly the stock rejected yesterday's high and then just kept being weak. It ended down 10% on the day, so just too bearish at the moment. Not really, you can't be bullish on this name. I think you can find some potential dip buying opportunities into $800 area, into $84, $74, $79 area, right into these previous bottoms that I've kind of marked up. But until it goes there, I'm really not as interested to look for a long. As for a short, if the stock pops into today's VWAP, wherever today's VWAP is, I'm expecting the earnings VWAP and today's VWAP to be around $100. It's around 100. It's 97.50, 98. So as long as the stock pops into you know, today's VWAP slash earnings VWAP, or even $100 and stays below it, I think you can continue looking short on the name. But I'm just not that interested because of how spready the name was. It was very spready. Even with 14 million shares traded today, the stock had a 50 cent spread around 10 o'clock or so. So I was just not interested to put the name on my watch list tomorrow. If it had a 50 cent spread today, it might have an even worse spread tomorrow. So just don't care about that. Good call on ELF. It did exactly as you had laid out yesterday. More juice left now that it's holding above 74. So looks like ELF got bought above 74, which was the game plan. Like I said, you know, if you ignore all of this downside move, which is hard to ignore, and just look at the chart pattern. The chart pattern says that's a 3-bar breakout, right? 3-bar breakout. The earnings report wasn't bad. They're actually growing year to year. So why did the stock get destroyed? I'm not sure. So if the buying can come above 74, it was almost a no-brainer long. And looks like 74, it first had a little bit of a battle back and forth. Eventually got back above 74. On the dip, tried to scare people, but then got back above 74 again. So right here, this is the key action. So notice how a lot of people were thinking the same way I was thinking, and they came in and they defended the price. So it continues to be an important level for the next few days, in my opinion. If the stock does not hold 74 on the dips, then it's almost not relevant anymore. I think it's going to go right back to the downside. But if the stock on the dips continues to hold 74, it does have a beautiful gap close into $88, even potentially a complete reclaim and a reversal back up north, because the report, from what I remember, wasn't that bad. Now granted, I don't have the best memory because I read so many earnings reports, I read so many reports every day, that I just don't have a good enough of a granular memory unless I write it down somewhere in my notes, which I don't, because I only care on a day-to-day scale, right? I don't swing trade, I don't invest, so I don't do that part yet. But if I did, I would have that information for you. Coming back to this trade, 74 needs to hold. If it doesn't, then I just don't know if it's going to have any more juice to the upside. 80% of US aluminum imports are from Canada. The 25% tariffs against Canada will drive aluminum prices higher. Ashman told press he'd gladly buy Twitter but won't sell his AI company to Elon. Who's Ashman? You mean not Ackman. Altman? You mean Sam Altman? I'm pretty sure you mean Sam Altman. Alright, it was kicked out NASDAQ 100 back in December. Yes, it was. I remember that. But I'm talking about getting kicked off the complete market and moved to the OTC or the pink sheets. CEO states delisting won't happen. I'm not gonna buy his bullshit. He's been bullshitting for so long. I'm no longer going to be buying his bullshit. Alright, Uber, we talked about that a little bit. Palantir, I mean, it did go close to 120, but it didn't really go to 120. I really wanted that 120 blow off top to short this name. It is kind of controlled climbing to the north side. So honestly, I don't know if being bearish on this name is the right way to go about. Let it play out. Let it play out. I really want the blow off top to really look for a heavy short. At the moment, you know, the name is sustained. It's going up slowly, going down slowly, and I'm just not that interested to make too big of a play on this move at all. But watching this one for sure, you know, it's at all-time high territories. How can you not watch the name into all-time high territories? Talking about all-time high territories, there's another one, TEM. I traded this one today. We talked about that a little bit earlier on in the day. So keeping this one on the watch list. Usually TEM, anytime it gives you a trade on day one, it also gives you a trade on day two. I remember this because I made money on one of these days, and the very next day I gave it right back. So I'm gonna try not to do that on TEM tomorrow and see if I can make some money on a potential pop into all-time high and a reject, or a potential breakthrough all-time high and a bigger run-up. So some action in this area will give me some good fun to play with. I don't think we see a breakout of this area tomorrow, so a pop in this area to look for a short will be my game plan for the most part. AIFF, I think this one had partnership with Nvidia. So you know, anytime a company announces partnership with Nvidia, SoundHound AI, I'm forgetting the other one that recently announced a partnership with Nvidia that did the crazy move to the north side. Also, you don't want to step in front of these, right? So monster move to the upside. Sadly missed the second chance long right there. That was a long to catch. Missed it. Big miss. That would have been you know, $5 per share winner for risking less than $1. So monster regret on that move over there, boy oh boy. But we'll be watching this one tomorrow to see how the stock plays out on dips and so on. Quickly going through some large cap names for some scans. Amazon, not that interesting. Google, potential test of 180 and a breakdown of 180 could be something to keep an eye on. We're actually going right into previous earnings VWAP, where the stock is bouncing a little bit off of, and also this 181 182 area where the stock is previously shown to find resistance and then find support after on. So if it finds support again, I wouldn't be surprised. But if this support doesn't hold and breaks down, that's when fun opens up on Google. Meta, I mean, you guys saw me read the article earlier on. 17 days in a row, a NASDAQ record for the company to have 17 green days in a row. I know you see red candles here, but even those red candles, actually the stock ended up 0.32% on the day, up 1.55% on the day, up 0.36, up 0.4. So not really a single red day for 17 days in a row. That was the last red day over here on January 16th on Meta, where it was down 0.94%. So ever since then, just green. Whoa, what's that? Oh yeah, it's green. Monster, hats off to it. Setting records, Mr. Zuckerberg, setting records. So don't fight the short, I guess, is the answer on Meta. Do not fight the short. Okay, where's my watch list? Watch list now says Microsoft. I think Microsoft, you know, not really that interesting until it really gets below 400 for me, or even gets into 400 and shows me support. And I talked about the overall market. The market just kind of waiting for CPI, I guess. So with tomorrow, with market reporting CPI at 8:30, or I shouldn't say market, with CPI being reported at 8:30, it'll be very interesting to see how the market moves around, potentially going into a new all-time high or moving into all-time high and rejecting off that all-time high. Lots of possibilities over there, and we'll potentially bring some volatility again into the market and make some fun trading opportunities for us. Let's take a quick little look at the IPO calendar. Nothing to talk about yet. Archimedes, okay, that's a nice name. That's a SPAC merger though, so I don't really care about that. 1.2 million. This is on the Feb 13th, so we'll talk about this tomorrow. We don't have to talk about this today, and that means all I have to do is show you guys my Linktree page. If you're interested in some of the tools that I use today on stream, such as Benzinga, I also use Trade Ideas every day to trade, and Flash Research to back test, and TraderSync to journal my trades. So if you're interested in using or software that I am actually using every single day, I'm sponsored by them and you can get discount. Check out Flash Research, 10% off. Check out Trade Ideas, 15% off by using code PRAD15. TraderSync, same thing, 15% off using code PRAD15. And Benzinga Pro, use my link in this Linktree page to get 10% off. Benzinga is actually amazing because not only does it help me with the reading earnings live with you guys on stream, but also throughout the day I listen to their Squawk, which is you know, a constant news stream, and I get to hear things as they're actually happening. So when Powell's talking, I get a constant news feed what Powell's saying. I get a news feed of when stocks are actually moving around. So it's almost another scanner in itself. And not only that, they have scanners and charting tools also in the software. So go check them out. I will see you guys tomorrow for the earnings fun and the CPI recap and my trades recap, and also the planning for the next day. So good luck tomorrow. Make sure you come back 8 o'clock, same time, same place. TraderPrad out. Oh, I'm tired. Good night, boys. Peace. Get ready for trade off. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, TraderSync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.